Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 2, Text 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvataha samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. Synonyms: Yavan, all that. Arthaha is meant. Udapane, in a well of water. Sarvataha, in all respects. Sampluta udake, in a great reservoir of water. Tavan, similarly. Sarveshu, in all. Vedeshu, Vedic literatures. Brahmanasya, of the man who knows the Supreme Brahman. Vijanataha, of one who is in complete knowledge. Translation: All purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoirs of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Purport: The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karmakanda division of the Vedic literature are to encourage gradual development of self-realization. And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita 15.15. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna, the primeval cause of everything. So, self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with Him. The relationship of the living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. Therefore, revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Text 7 as follows. Aho batashvapachoto gariyan yajjihvagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhuvuhu sasnurarya brahmanuchurnama grinanti yete. O my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of a Chandala dog-eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many times after taking his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So, one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals and the injunctions of the Vedantas and the Upanishads. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purposes of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakashananda Saraswati, why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master found him to be a great fool, and thus he asked him to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna, and the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. Text 47. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhur ma te sangostva karmani. Synonyms: karmani, prescribed duties; eva, certainly; adhikaraha, right; te, of you; ma, never; phaleshu, in the fruits; kadachana, at any time; ma, never; karma phala, in the result of the work; hetuhu, cause; bhuhu, become; ma, never; te, of you; sangaha, attachment; astu, be there; akarmani, in not doing. Translation: You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Purport: There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties refer to activities performed while one is in the modes of material nature. Capricious work means action without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work, in terms of the scriptural injunctions, is done without desire for results. As one has to do it, obligatory work is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna.